You never know who you're going to get on the day, because other people have various sort of priorities and things, you know, family emergencies, and so usually about a 50% no-show rate is pretty standard. So we're expecting probably a few less. That's great. So what I'd like to start by doing, you probably saw the schedule, the agenda. We have two wonderful speakers who will be introducing themselves in just a moment. But what I wanted to do today was to talk about the mission and the objectives of this meetup group. And the truth is, there isn't a mission and there are no objectives, because this meetup is really for you guys. And you know, the Internet of Things is such a broad topic. You know, they say there are going to be 50 billion connected devices on the planet by the year 2020. And what is the Internet of Things and what is a connected device? Well, in my view, anything that's connected is potentially part of the Internet of Things. So that could be, I don't know if you've seen those sort of weird and wonderful Kickstarter and Indiegogo campaigns for some pretty obscure and bizarre objects that can connect to the internet through Bluetooth. So for example, wallets, you know, smart wallets, you lose them, they've got GPS tracking, so they can't be stolen or lost, or even smart umbrellas, they're called appcessories. Technically, you know, those gadgets and gizmos are connected to the internet, so they're all part of the Internet of Things. And then we have you know, drones. Technically they're not drones, they're remotely piloted vehicles, but in future they will become autonomous, they will become connected, and they will become part of the Internet of Things, so they count. All the way through to industrial assets, power stations, aircraft, wind farms. You know, they'll be able to self-regulate, self-maintain, they'll have sensors that'll be connected to the internet. The industrial Internet of Things is going to add trillions in value to the global economy. So for the people in this room now, us, this group here, what do we want from this group? You know, are we into smart home gadgets? Are we into drones? Are we into accessories? You know, kind of creating products that we can get funding for and launch Kickstarter campaigns. It's part of the maker revolution, using lean, agile methodologies, 3D printing and laser cutting to put together a very rudimentary concept and pre-sell it. You know, you actually get people out there who pay you money for a product you haven't created yet. It's called pre-tail. It's pre-commerce is the other term that's used. So you actually pre-fund a product before you even created it. And because early adopters want this product so badly, they're willing to wait maybe 6 months, pay you in advance, and eventually when you have this gadget, you dispatch it, then people are still pretty happy to do that because they want this product so badly. And as an entrepreneur, it enables you to create these incredible products. So really, I'm putting that question over to you, and what I'm not going to do, again, it's a format thing, perhaps we can sort of see how things work. There are some meetups where everyone individually is asked who they are, what they do, and what they want to contribute to the group. I'm not crazy about that format. You know, some people prefer to stand up and talk, others don't. So I prefer to keep that optional. But what I would love for you to do is, if you want to open a dialogue, share something, an announcement, talk about what you're involved with. You know, if you're an entrepreneur and you're building a startup or an app or a product, we'd love to hear more about it. Or if you're working for a company and you're looking to recruit, that's okay too, just to say that you're looking to connect with certain people. Maybe you're thinking about starting a company and you're looking for a co-founder. So that's, you know, this is a great kind of environment to find the next Steve Jobs, perhaps. You never know. So what I wanted to do, like I said, I've got no agenda, no mission statement. I just wanted to throw a diverse, interesting group of very bright people into the room and just see what happens. So does anyone here have anything they'd like to discuss or any questions?
Maybe just I maybe propose application to health service, like cancer, heart, yes, and also like energy systems, energy storage.
Energy systems, can you be more specific? Energy harvesting?
No, energy storage in this case, energy storage.
Storage,
Yes.
batteries.
Yeah, all the kind of energy storage, yes. It's
okay.
batteries, of course, yeah.
I don't know a great deal about this stuff, but what I do know is battery technology has been lagging behind almost everything else. And I've got my phone constantly, it's charged right now, I've got an Nexus 5, it sucks. I have to carry the charger around with me. Life shouldn't be that way. You look at wind energy, transformative, right? Incredible.
Yeah.
But why is it not really contributing, and why is it kind of one of those industries that's not sort of breaking through to the mainstream, it's not making a big impact, it's still absorbing a lot of funding, government funding to support it? It's because you can't store all that energy really that's being produced, right? So it just dissipates into the ether and it's lost. So yeah, battery technology is absolutely crucial. But isn't there a gigabit factory being built by Tesla and Apple or something that's hopefully going to change that?
Well, you see, I think it's with energy storage is the same as with good food in good restaurant. Yes, is as much choice you have. Yes, is better. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's also about price, about your some preferences, and so on. Yeah.
But what do you need from the group? You need to find someone who's a domain expert, and you can develop some kind of breakthrough technology.
No. First, just I want to find some people who maybe have similar interests. Yes.
Okay, we know Jack, who's into energy harvesting.
Yeah.
He's a great. So Jack Ning. Yeah. Edinburgh, or is he with?
He's an Edinburgh PhD graduate.
He's a PhD graduate. He's based at Napier in their incubator, right? And he is a very cool guy. Who came to my conference on the 29th of last month, the Internet of Things conference. Okay, yeah, perfect. Well, Jack was at that event. He's a good guy. He's a member on the meetup group, so you can find each other and connect, and hopefully he'll come to the next one. Anyway, battery technology. I would say that's an important topic theme. Perhaps we could get some speakers. Anything else? Drones. Who's into drones? 2, 1, 3. Okay, I think that we might, as time evolves, create a sort of a splinter meetup for drone people at some stage when we've got enough critical mass. And the same for smart home and startup IoT startups. I think as time progresses, what we'll see is sort of subgroups forming around specific topics. And I think there is the opportunity to cross-fertilize. You don't want to be sort of too siloed, because then you get groupthink. Has anyone heard of Nixie? It's a pretty good example. Nixie, anyone? It's a wearable drone. So on one side you've got wearable technologies, and on the other side you've got drone technologies. And it was developed by a bunch of Stanford grads, I think, and they won some big Intel-sponsored hackathon, and they ended up becoming the winners. But it's a drone, and you just pop it off the strap, and it launches itself and hovers above you, takes a dronie, and then just flies back to your wrist. Hasn't entered production, but it's pre-production. So that's where you get the crossover between drone technology and wearables. So who knows what cross-fertilization will be within this room. Smart home technology, who's kind of involved with that in some way?
I'm interested in it at a personal level,
Okay.
and as a professional level. I work for a large international IT company, which doesn't have to remain nameless. I work for Fujitsu. So
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, we're kind of into this personal stuff, especially in Japan where there's an aging population, so we've got some devices. We've got a walking stick that will give route instructions based on sensors on the handle,
Right.
based on GPS location. We're doing all kinds of stuff with Internet of Things.
That's interesting.
As at an enterprise level going forward, but I'm interested because I want to build myself an ultra eco house somewhere. So I'm interested in it from all aspects.
Right, there's so many things in there.
Yeah, quite.
First of all, I'm thinking startup entrepreneurs. We've been through it. Who's a startup entrepreneur who's working on a startup, early stage business, right? So we often want to get into big corporates, either because we want funding from their innovation funds, or we just want to speak to someone in the company because we've got something to contribute.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare trying to find who the right person is.
I have another hat.
And probably conversely, it's difficult for big companies to reach out to startups.
Exactly.
They don't know where to start.
Yeah, I'm a member of the distinguished engineering community in the UK, and I've got an additional hat because I'm an education ambassador with Borders College in Galashiels.
Okay, well, I'm based just personally.
Really?
Stand right
Right,
there.
so there you go. So
I was thinking of holding an event
There's a
there.
few touch points, yeah?
Brilliant, yeah. And the other thing, of course, is the aging population. a lot of senior citizens are being left behind, and they're just feeling completely, I think, low morale. And a lot of these connected devices can really enrich their lives. And because it's not sexy, you see a lot of, again, crowdfunding campaigns around Me Too products that are aimed at young consumers that could be better pivoted towards an aging population. So there's a huge demand, and entrepreneurs need to respond, and corporates as well, to deliver tracking devices for those that have dementia, for example. So again, it's a huge, huge opportunity. So smart cities, smart city initiatives.
Just an interest.
Just an interest.
Yes.
You're not actively involved in smart city initiative. Yeah, because I was hoping to get some representatives to my last conference from Edinburgh or Glasgow University. Because the guys in government need to be aware of these smart city technologies. And I get a whole lot of interest, unfortunately. Wearables, smart watches, fitness trackers, apps, quantified self. Anyone know what the quantified self is? No? Okay. Quantified self is when you embed technology or it could be embedded, that's where it's headed. So these could be sensors that are tattooed onto the skin or embedded onto the skin, but at the moment they tend to be smart watches, fitness trackers, that sort of stuff. And so it's, you're learning stuff about your physical self and potentially sharing that data. So it could be blood oxygen levels, heart rate, calories burned, on and on and on. And as smartwatches and sensors become medical grade, the accuracy of this data is going to be transformative, where you won't really need a GP. You'll just hook it up to some AI server like Watson that will be able to provide analysis and prognosis way more accurately than a GP, and potentially, if you're wearing this technology, predict ailments months, if not years in advance. So quantified self are people like I used to be, who carry smart devices and essentially spam their social group on Facebook and Twitter to tell everyone how many steps they've had today, what calories they've consumed, and all that sort of stuff. So it's more of a kind of a, I would say, what's the word, a novelty at this stage, because the accuracy of the sensors is so bad. I mean, according to my Fitbit, I got no more than 3 hours sleep a night, and if that were true, I'd probably be dead by now. So I think the sleep tracking was not particularly accurate. That was the first generation, though. So they're improving. So what are we doing? So we've done smart cities, drones, smart home, quantified self and wearables. Anything that I've forgotten about? The fundraising for startups, is that something you're interested in? Kickstarter, Indigo, crowdfunding?
Internet of Things.
Huh?
Security and Internet of Things. And
Security.
And privacy. Possibly
And privacy.
things.
Well, we will be talking about some of the legal issues.
You've also mentioned industrial IoT.
Yeah.
I would say just getting to elementary, many different devices, because I mean, you've touched on smart houses and smart cities or smart cars. You're trying to move to elementary so that your
transport.
company say that you are actually capable driver for transport.
Yeah.
Because actually, because you mentioned what is IoT, but that's happening already on Formula One, how many data they actually track. Also, for companies like Okada, well, not even in Scotland, but in London they're massive, and they have not only fully automated warehouses, but you get a telemetry from all their vehicles to find that route. And the same probably for driverless cars, because you also have smart cities, and like what Uber and Google are trying to push for.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by transport. I think there seems to be a difference of opinion. I was at the Royal College of Art last week, and they have some of the most talented auto designers on the planet, and the stuff that they've come up with, usually sponsored by McLaren, Ford, Jaguar Land Rover Group. These guys, they're poached even before they've graduated, because the quality of their work is extraordinary. And the conversation was something like this: autonomous cars will not be possible until all non-autonomous cars are taken off the road. It's all or nothing. My personal view is it's going to be a mixed initiative. I think that you will see autonomous vehicles operating alongside human-operated vehicles, and they'll gradually become the standard over time. But in the same way that we all enjoy driving classic cars, it's not the latest technology, it's just something that gives us pleasure. I think there will still be the enjoyment of driving even in the era of autonomous vehicles.
Autonomous cars, we shouldn't only narrow ourselves to cars, we should think about other means of transportation, because you mentioned roads or other flying.
That's transportation, absolutely.
They can be fully autonomous.
Yeah.
And actually, because the traffic, say in the air, is not as big as on roads.
Yeah. But do you think the sky is going to be black with drones in a few years' time? Or do you think there'll be designated airspace? You'll see sort of like the M25 drones sort of crisscrossing the country. Are they going to be underground, overground?
It's
How do
like
you see
what
it?
Amazon are trying to push for, well, not for that, but their drone delivery.
Yeah.
You'll see some drones, and actually that can be another problem, because I can buy a drone, say that Parrot or what's the name, it's quite big, it's quite heavy.
Yeah.
So it's not regulated, it's not even actually, most probably a problem, someone's flying it next to Gatwick, and they almost come to crash.
Yeah.
But then if I suddenly give them this flying drone, it goes somewhere and it just falls on a waterway.
Well, I think that it needs to be and will be and is increasingly being heavily regulated. I mean, commercial drones are, as you know, outlawed unless you have special dispensation from the CEO of the FAA. And James, you were saying that how few certified pilots are there in London? 42 maximum. That's all. I mean, they're and that's just not the way forward, because this technology needs to be unleashed. And I think the biggest problem are the novelists, the hobbyists. Sorry, those guys are the greatest risk. Whereas corporations, providing everything's licensed, so that if a drone is caught doing something it shouldn't be, just like a vehicle of any kind, it can be attributed back to the owner or the operator. So how are we doing for time, by the way? Oh yeah, we've got plenty of time. 5 to 10 minutes.
I mentioned to you when we were talking earlier that I heard that a company wanted to simulate the view from a 10-storey building that's going to be built in Edinburgh using a drone to go up there, but they were refused permission to do so from the airport authorities, even though this was going to be in the centre of town, only a couple of hundred yards away from where we're sitting just now. So they had to hire a cherry picker and get up and take that photograph so that the glossy brochure showed what it was going to look like and showed the appropriate view of the castle. But there clearly still is a lot of nervousness about it.
Yeah, in a heavily regulated, very litigious and safety conscious environment, it's easy to say no than it is to say yes. And the problem with that is, I'm very bad at stats, so I'm going to make something up. But headline figures ignore, but the principle behind it that counts. So the co-founder of iRobot, anyone heard of iRobot? Yeah, autonomous robotic cleaners and what have you. So she quit iRobot and she's starting a new drone-related business. I think they're tethered drones. So they're constantly connected to the ground, so you don't have any issues with battery. And they used to sort of patrol a property or what have you, kind of a surveillance drone. And she, as part of her business plan, I would imagine, she made a calculation. This is about a year out of date. That was actually costing the U.S. economy literally tens of millions of dollars of lost revenue for the U.S. economy per day. And so this is what's happened. The CA and the FAA, through regulation, are preventing businesses from functioning and delivering very profitable services that customers desperately need. And the obvious ones are delivering. It's not so much business. This is more, I suppose, social enterprise. Getting drugs into an emergency situation, an earthquake or a war zone, where you just can't get there very easily on foot or with a vehicle. So drones would work beautifully for those kinds of anti-poaching, anti-deforestation, using drones and low-level satellites to monitor illegal deforestation. So there are so many applications, and of course, commercially, there are so many business models that we haven't thought of. And if you can think of something, let me know, because I'll be below that. I'm genuinely looking for startup opportunities and building new businesses around novel business models relating to drone technology, because Edinburgh University are top 5 globally with regards to robotics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and computer science generally. We have a cluster of the most incredible world-class technology in that field right here on our front doorstep. So if you're going to start a drone-related business, or UAV, as some people prefer to use that term. There's no better place on the planet, potentially, than Edinburgh. So yeah, I think transport definitely is a topic that I'd like to continue coming back to. Anyone else have any announcements, any questions, any topics?
Agriculture is a good one as well.
Yeah.
So smart foods.
Agri-tech is going to be huge.
So just smart sort of farming, precision farming.
And right now I'm living in the Scottish borders, and I'm surrounded. It's a great place to think because there's nothing there. I'm just surrounded by big glass walls, and all I can see is just rolling countryside as far as the eye can see. And I'm thinking to myself, there must be some government grants for a drone, an agri-drone. So I'm surrounded by farmers and agricultural land. And in Japan, they're already way ahead of the game. They're using drones for nitrogen level detection in terms of where to plant crops. So they're doing using drones for aerial surveillance. They're using drones for planting. And that in itself is a tricky thing, because if you go too deep, you shoot these pellets into the ground, and if they penetrate too deeply, they're not going to germinate. If they hit the crust and bounce off, then they'll die because they're not getting any nutrients. So you've got to actually design the drones to plant the crops to perfection in order for the seeds to germinate. Disease detection, again, very effective. So drone technology, or agri-tech, is an absolute natural for Internet of Things. I'm putting sensors in the soil so you can remotely monitor the temperature, the humidity levels, nitrogen levels. That again is going to be game changing and potentially in a really good way.
And also the animals as well. One of
course,
the
Fitbit for
technologies
animals.
that we have is a sensor that measures and monitors.
Sorry everyone, this is David Barry. What was your name again?
Roger Whiteley.
Roger Whiteley.
Mike Morrison.
These are the rules. You're talking, you've got to introduce yourself. Who have I missed?
Oh, very sorry. I'm also on the Edinburgh Management Committee for the British Computer Society.
Oh, fantastic.
So if anybody's interested in showing up on Wednesday at the Department of Informatics, Crichton Street, there's a talk at 6:30.
That's Appleton Tower, right?
No, Department of Informatics. Sorry?
Is it Forum or is it the
Informatics
ugly
Forum.
building or the
one of
new
the
one?
ugly buildings?
Yeah,
Informatics
Appleton.
Forum.
That's where we used to be based there. No, we're Design Informatics now, thank God. Anyway, so yeah, fantastic, thank you. Who have I missed? Who else have I had? Fitbit for cows.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So it measures health, fertility, milk yield, and there's a bit of all of this. And then it's the thing that fascinates me is then it's the integration of all the other equipment that's on the farm, which is related to milk production or milk production. There's lots and lots of data.
But it's going to be game changing, right? I mean, in terms of the yields. And
of course it is. But the farmers
efficiency
don't know what to do with that data and how it should be presented. I think that's our challenge as companies, is we can gather all the data. How should it be analysed and then presented so it makes a difference? Probably because we know it does. But then whoever's using it has to know.
Data. Should data be open or closed?
Wow.
Perhaps we have a domain expert. Yeah, that's the perfect segue, and we're right on schedule.